What's up, guys? Multiplier here, and today the first of my new series called Ableton Basics. Basically where I start right from the beginning and kind of show you what's what. Let's say you just downloaded Ableton and you don't know what's going on, or maybe you've had a bit of a play but you still don't really know what is going on. So cool, let's start off an introduction to the interface. I'm not going to go into detail what all the buttons do. I'm just going to show you kind of broadly speaking how it's all laid out. So there are three main sections to kind of like the interface. There's the main bit on the right, which is made up of the session view and the arrangement view. So this is one of the main differences between Ableton Live and all the other DAWs like Reason or Logic. Ableton not only has this traditional like arrangement view where you can literally see how things are laid out like in time, it also has this session view, which is kind of almost like a live, just a different approach to kind of arranging the music and laying it out. So I'll go into that in more detail in the next video, but for now, just know that you click, if that stupid thing gets out of the way, you click these two buttons on the top right to choose between the arrangement view and the session view. So it's really important. These buttons are hidden up there, but you need to know that there's two main ways of kind of viewing your audio and kind of playing back your audio in your DAW, and it's session view and arrangement view. Super, super important. If you don't understand these two main things, you're going to get lost really, really quickly. So I'll go into more detail next time, but yeah, click those buttons to choose between those two views. And you can always hit the tab button as well. So it's worth learning the shortcuts. It makes life so much quicker once you actually start producing. Cool. So yeah, that's the top right. The next section is a section on the left, which you can hide or open with this arrow up here. So again, if it doesn't look exactly like what you've got on screen here, like me, you might have to click one of these buttons, like one of these buttons or these buttons to kind of show it. And this section is basically where you find all your sounds and your plugins and all that kind of stuff. So you've got, as you can imagine, categories, sounds, drums, instruments, all the sort of stock stuff. And then you got your plugins folder, and then you can add a folder here to places, and that's where you can stick your own kind of, if you downloaded a sample pack and you want to navigate to it nice and quickly, you don't have to dig through layers and layers of files and folders and stuff. You basically just click add folder, and then you can stick whichever folder you like here. It's almost like a shortcut to a folder. So stick your favorite sample packs and kind of your main folder where maybe all your sample packs are kept, stick it there and you can get to it nice and easy. So this is kind of like your browser / file navigation thing. So that's pretty cool. The next main section, or the last big kind of chunk of the interface, is this bottom section, and this is where all your effects go. So you see here, it's got my mic channel, we've got a spectrum analyzer, and I've got a plugin which basically just making my sound, the voice, a little bit nicer. So this is where all your effects go. So you have all your channels of audio here, or if you're in arrangement view, your channels of audio going down, and then let's say making a few new tracks. Each new track will have its own section of effects. So you see, you just click it. So you've got an effects on the mic here. Back to session view. Got your clips of audio and your effects down here. So nice and easy. That's where your effects go, and they go in order from left to right. So probably stick the spectrum analyzer on the end. So it's getting processed first by this plugin, and then I can see kind of what's going on with the spectrum of the sound here. And again, similarly before, if you can't see it, it's because it's hidden. Click that little button bottom right hand corner to make this section appear. And also, super important, in fact, especially when you're learning, is this info view thing. So if you just click this arrow, again, there's lots of these little arrows hidden, you can make this info thing appear. Now, once you get really used to the way Live works, you might be able to just get rid of it, which will give you more room to steal your effects. But to be honest, it's best just to leave it up. I mean, I always just leave it up because I can't be bothered or forget to close it down. But it means whenever if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, as you hover over any particular symbol, it tells you exactly what it is. So, for example, they've changed all these buttons along the top for the new Ableton Live 9. So I can't remember what some of them do. Like that one says automation arm. So now I know that little symbol does what, or at least I know what it does now because it had a different symbol in the old Live. So it's always useful, especially if you've just upgraded to Live 9 or you've never used Ableton before. just to have that info thing up, because it's surprisingly useful. It's on pretty much anything, whether it's even effects, I think. Let's have a quick look. Okay, maybe not. I'm pretty sure some effects or whatever, MIDI effects. Oh, I'm not sure. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, just most things in Live, if you hover over it, it will give you kind of an explanation in the bottom left-hand corner. So that's super useful to know. Other than that, along the top is basically where all our master settings are. Things like, I won't go into too much detail because it would take a whole video in itself, but we've got basic ones which you probably need to know straight off the back. Is your tempo here, which is that number. You can just drag it or choose it just by typing. Other important one is your actual, like, I forget what they call it, like time signature, which is 4/4 for most dance music. If you don't know what that means, leave it as 4/4. It's a good rule of thumb. And you got your basic kind of play, start, record, all that kind of main buttons up here. And these numbers is like the bar numbers. So you see this move along. As we move this along, it's almost like the start mark. It's where we are in the track, and it gives you it in bars, and then kind of splits it up into, I think it's like either like quarters, and it just basically splits it up and gives you a reference point for where you are in the track, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I won't go into too much detail up here, just because it would take quite a while, but it's worth kind of hovering over each button and then looking in the bottom left-hand corner just to see what is going on. So yeah, that's kind of like an introduction to the interface. So yeah, the main thing not to get really confused about at first, which I will go into more detail next time, is the difference between the session view, which is this one, and the arrangement view. So the tracks are laid out in different ways. They're laid out horizontally here and vertically here. There's a huge difference between the two, and I'll explain that next time. But yeah, and cool. So yeah, and also don't get confused by all these little buttons. You can always hover over them and kind of learn what they mean, but don't get too confused by the fact there's tons of buttons everywhere. You'll figure them out one by one. So cool. Yeah, I've been Multiplier, and yeah, it's been video 1. Let's do the next one.